Talking about dishes you can cook, English listening practice. Welcome to English listening time. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that's close to everyone's heart and stomach: cooking. We'll discuss various dishes you can cook, from simple breakfasts to fancy dinners. This lesson will help you learn everyday English vocabulary related to food and cooking. Let's get started. Cooking is a wonderful skill to have. It's not just about feeding yourself, it's also about creativity, health, and sharing with others. When you can talk about the dishes you can cook, you're sharing a part of your personality and culture. So, let's explore some common dishes and how to describe them in English. Let's start with breakfast. What's the first meal you think of when you wake up? For many people, it might be something simple like toast with butter and jam. This is a quick and easy breakfast that almost anyone can make. You just need a toaster, some bread, butter, and your favorite jam. The bread goes into the toaster until it's golden brown and crispy. Then you spread a thin layer of butter on the warm toast, followed by a spoonful of sweet, fruity jam. It's a classic breakfast that's popular in many countries. If you want something a bit more filling for breakfast, you might consider making scrambled eggs. This dish is also quite simple to prepare. You start by cracking a few eggs into a bowl and beating them with a fork until the yolks and whites are well mixed. Some people like to add a splash of milk to make the eggs fluffier. Then, you melt a little butter in a pan over medium heat. Pour in the egg mixture and stir gently as it cooks. The eggs will slowly start to form soft curds. Keep stirring until the eggs are no longer liquid, but still look moist. Season with a bit of salt and pepper, and you have a delicious, protein-rich breakfast. For those who prefer a sweet breakfast, pancakes are always a popular choice. To make pancakes, you'll need flour, eggs, milk, a little sugar, and some baking powder. Mix all these ingredients in a bowl until you have a smooth batter. Heat a non-stick pan or griddle and pour small circles of batter onto it. When you see bubbles forming on the surface of the pancake, it's time to flip it over. Cook the other side until it's golden brown. Serve your pancakes with butter and maple syrup, or get creative with toppings like fresh fruit, whipped cream, or chocolate chips. Now, let's move on to lunch. Sandwiches are a lunchtime staple in many parts of the world. They're versatile, portable, and can be made with countless combinations of ingredients. A classic sandwich that many people enjoy is the BLT, which stands for bacon, lettuce, and tomato. To make a BLT, you start with 2 slices of bread. Toast them lightly if you like. Then, spread a thin layer of mayonnaise on each slice. Add a few slices of crispy bacon, some fresh lettuce leaves, and slices of ripe tomato. Put the 2 halves together, and you have a delicious BLT sandwich. Some people like to add extras like avocado or cheese to make it even more filling. Another popular lunch option is a salad. A simple green salad is easy to make and can be very healthy. Start with a base of leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, or mixed salad leaves. Wash the leaves thoroughly and dry them. Then, you can add other vegetables like sliced cucumber, cherry tomatoes, and grated carrot. For some protein, you might add some cubed cheese, sliced hard-boiled egg, or grilled chicken breast. To dress the salad, you can make a simple vinaigrette by mixing olive oil, vinegar, a touch of mustard, and some salt and pepper. Toss everything together just before serving to keep the salad crisp and fresh. If you're looking for a warm lunch option, soup is always comforting. One of the easiest soups to make is tomato soup. You start by sautéing some chopped onions in a pot with a little oil. When the onions are soft, add a can of crushed tomatoes, some vegetable or chicken broth, and seasonings like salt, pepper, and dried basil. Let everything simmer together for about 20 minutes. If you like a smooth soup, you can blend it with an immersion blender or in a regular blender. Be careful with hot liquids. Serve the soup with some crusty bread for dipping, and you have a warming, satisfying lunch. Now, let's talk about some dishes you might cook for dinner. Pasta is a favorite for many people because it's quick to cook and very versatile. One classic pasta dish is spaghetti with tomato sauce. To make this, you start by boiling a pot of water and adding salt. Cook the spaghetti according to the package instructions until it's al dente, which means it's cooked but still firm when you bite it. While the pasta is cooking, you can make a simple tomato sauce. Sauté some garlic in olive oil, add a can of crushed tomatoes, and season with salt, pepper, and herbs like basil or oregano. Let the sauce simmer for about 15 minutes. When the pasta is done, drain it and toss it with the sauce. Serve with grated Parmesan cheese on top. If you're in the mood for something a bit fancier, you might try making a stir-fry. Stir-fries are great because you can use whatever vegetables and protein you have on hand. To make a basic chicken stir-fry, you start by cutting boneless chicken breast into small bite-sized pieces. Heat some oil in a wok or large frying pan. Add the chicken and cook until it's browned on all sides. Remove the chicken and set it aside. In the same pan, stir-fry a mix of vegetables like bell peppers, broccoli, and carrots. When the vegetables are crisp tender, add the chicken back to the pan. Pour in a sauce made from soy sauce, a little sugar, and cornstarch mixed with water. Stir everything together until the sauce thickens and coats the chicken and vegetables. Serve your stir-fry over rice for a complete meal. For those who enjoy cooking with fish, a simple baked salmon dish can be both delicious and healthy. Start by preheating your oven. Place a salmon fillet on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Drizzle the fish with olive oil and season it with salt, pepper, and any herbs you like. Dill works well with salmon. You can add lemon slices on top for extra flavor. Bake the salmon in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on the thickness of the fillet. The fish is done when it flakes easily with a fork. Serve your baked salmon with a side of steamed vegetables and rice or potatoes for a nutritious dinner. Let's not forget about vegetarian options. A hearty vegetable lasagna is a great dish that even meat eaters will enjoy. To make lasagna, you layer lasagna noodles with a mixture of vegetables, like zucchini, spinach and mushrooms, tomato sauce, and a cheese mixture made from ricotta, mozzarella, and Parmesan. You can either use no-boil lasagna noodles or cook regular lasagna noodles before assembling. Layer everything in a baking dish, starting and ending with sauce to keep the noodles moist. Cover the dish with foil and bake it in the oven until the cheese is melted and bubbly. Let it cool for a few minutes before serving, so it's easier to cut into portions. Now, let's talk about some side dishes that can accompany your main courses. Roasted vegetables are a simple and delicious side dish that goes with almost anything. You can use a variety of vegetables like potatoes, carrots, Brussels sprouts, or bell peppers. Cut the vegetables into similar-sized pieces so they cook evenly. Toss them with olive oil, salt, pepper, and any herbs or spices you like. Spread them out on a baking sheet, making sure they're not overcrowded. Roast them in a hot oven, stirring occasionally, until they're tender and lightly browned. Roasting brings out the natural sweetness of vegetables and gives them a nice texture. Another popular side dish is mashed potatoes. To make mashed potatoes, start by peeling and cutting potatoes into even-sized chunks. Boil them in salted water until they're tender enough to easily pierce with a fork. Drain the potatoes and return them to the pot. Add butter, milk, or cream for richer potatoes, salt, and pepper. Mash everything together until you reach your desired consistency. Some people like their mashed potatoes very smooth, while others prefer them a bit chunky. You can add extras like roasted garlic, cheese, or herbs to give your mashed potatoes more flavor. Let's not forget about desserts. A simple dessert that many people enjoy making is chocolate chip cookies. To make cookies, you start by creaming together butter and sugar. Then you add eggs and vanilla extract. In a separate bowl, mix flour, baking soda, and salt. Gradually add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients, mixing until everything is well combined. Finally, stir in chocolate chips. Drop spoonfuls of the dough onto a baking sheet and bake in the oven until the edges are golden brown. The smell of freshly baked cookies is hard to resist. For a fruity dessert, you might try making an apple crisp. This dessert is easier than pie but just as delicious. You start by peeling and slicing apples, then tossing them with sugar, cinnamon, and a bit of lemon juice. Put the apples in a baking dish. In a separate bowl, mix oats, flour, brown sugar, and butter to make the crisp topping. Sprinkle this mixture over the apples. Bake the crisp in the oven until the topping is golden and the apples are tender. Serve it warm, maybe with a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. Now that we've talked about many different dishes, let's discuss some general cooking tips. First, it's important to read the entire recipe before you start cooking. This helps you understand all the steps and make sure you have all the ingredients and equipment you need. It's also a good idea to prepare all your ingredients before you start cooking. This is called mise en place in French, which means everything in its place. Having all your ingredients measured and ready to go makes the cooking process much smoother. Another important tip is to taste your food as you cook. This helps you adjust the seasoning and make sure everything is flavorful. Just be careful when tasting very hot foods. It's also good to clean as you go. This means washing dishes or wiping counters while you're waiting for something to cook. It makes the final cleanup much easier. When you're trying a new recipe, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Cooking is a skill that improves with practice. Even experienced cooks sometimes have dishes that don't turn out perfectly. The important thing is to learn from your mistakes and keep trying. Over time, you'll become more confident in the kitchen and may even start creating your own recipes. Remember, cooking doesn't have to be complicated to be good. Sometimes the simplest dishes are the most delicious. A perfectly ripe tomato with a sprinkle of salt, or a piece of good bread with butter, can be just as satisfying as a complex meal. The most important thing is to enjoy the process of cooking and to take pleasure in sharing your food with others. As you become more comfortable with cooking, you might want to try dishes from different cuisines. Every culture has its own unique flavors and cooking techniques. Exploring international cuisines can be a great way to expand your cooking skills and try new tastes. You might discover a new favorite dish or ingredient that you've never tried before.
Don't forget about the importance of food safety when you're cooking. Always wash your hands before you start cooking and after handling raw meat or eggs. Make sure to cook foods to the proper temperature, especially meats. Keep your cooking area clean and store leftovers properly in the refrigerator. In conclusion, talking about the dishes you can cook is a great way to practice your English and share a bit about yourself. Whether you're a beginner cook who can make simple breakfasts and sandwiches or an experienced chef who loves trying complicated recipes, there's always something new to learn in the kitchen. Cooking is a skill that combines creativity, science, and love. It's a way to nourish yourself and others, to explore different cultures, and to create memories around the dinner table. I hope this lesson has given you some ideas about how to describe different dishes in English.
Remember, the more you practice talking about cooking, the more comfortable you'll become with the vocabulary. And who knows? You might even be inspired to try cooking some new dishes yourself. Thank you for listening to English Listening Time. Keep practicing your English, and happy cooking!